Hi, boys and girls. It's me, Danny, and welcome to lesson number 3 in our lockdown. Maybe it's the last lesson because I think next week we might have English again, which would be very cool. I hope so, I hope so, I hope so. Today, it's partially sunny. It's not foggy. Yeah, first time in a long time that it's not foggy. And tomorrow, it's supposed to snow. So I hope it snows at my house. I want to make a snowman or have a snowball fight, but I don't think we'll have very much snow, only a little bit. My question for today is, as always, how are you? I'm fine. I'm fine because today is partially sunny. So today's lesson is going to be about places again, but not like the mountains or the hills, but we're going to do houses and all these different places here, like castles and stuff like that. But before we begin, we have a promise and then a warm-up. Our promise is, "Oh, Danny, I promise by this hand and this hand that I will look, listen, learn, and speak." Perfect. Very good. So we're going to begin our warm-up today with a rhyme I do for my smaller boys and girls called 5 Little Monkeys. I have to show you 5 fingers like this. 5 little monkeys. And just to explain how it looks, look at this. We need 5 little monkeys. Then we need a bed for jumping on. Then we also need a mummy on the telephone and a doctor on the telephone. Here we go. So, here we go. 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mommy called the doctor and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." 4 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mommy called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." 3 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mommy called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." 2 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mommy called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." 1 little monkey jumping on the bed. He fell off and bumped his head. Mommy called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." Okay, doctor, okay. 1 little mummy jumping on the bed. She fell off and bumped her head. The monkeys called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." What? Your mummy? Oh, well, then no more mummies jumping on the bed. Goodbye. 1 little doctor jumping on the bed. He fell off and bumped his head. Mommy called the monkeys, and the monkeys said, because monkeys don't speak English. That's how it is. So, boys and girls, today we're going to learn about places. The places I'm going to show you today are not the mountains or the hills or the forest or the schoolyard, but places that we can live in. For example, a house, yeah? Most of you live in a house. I live in a house. This is a house here. This is my house. And this is a house. That's easy. If you don't live in a house, maybe you live in an apartment. An apartment is a big house where more families can live inside. There's a family on the first floor, a family on the second floor, and up and up and up. In Vienna, they have big, big houses in the city with lots of apartments. Small apartments and big apartments. Next, we also have a very big house, a villa, or what we say, a mansion. A mansion is a big, big, big house with a big, big, big garden. You have like 10 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms and 10 toilets and 10 kitchens. It's very, very big, a mansion. Even bigger than a mansion sometimes, a castle. Wow, I would love to live in a castle, but in winter, castles can be cold because they're so big. You need to have fires in all of the rooms to keep a castle warm. And if you think of castles in Austria, for example, in Marienzersdorf, they have the Burg Liechtenstein. That's a very, very, very big castle. Or bigger than a castle is a palace like Schönbrunn. Schönbrunn is a palace. It's a very big castle. But then we can also go smaller because a castle is very big. But for example, a cabin is small. Lots of people in Canada, where I come from, they live off in the forest and they live in a cabin. Cabins are cool, but they're small. But at Christmas, you can go skiing sometimes and then you stay in a cabin. A cabin. Now, when I was a small boy, I always wanted to live in this. A tree house. I think tree houses are so cool, but the trees in Canada were so big I could never get a tree house inside. So I never had a tree house, but maybe you have a tree house in your garden. A tree house. Even smaller than a tree house, smaller than a cabin, for example, can be a shack. Yeah. A shack usually has no doors. It has just a small window, but you can't open or close the window. There's no glass in it. And a shack has no internet, no Wi-Fi, and no kitchen or living room or big television, flat screen television or LED television. A shack is a shack. Even smaller than a shack is a tent. Yeah, but you can live in a tent. I have a big camping tent. In summer when I go camping, I can go camping. And I also have a small tent. If I want to go camping in my garden, then I can have my tent. So we look at the 8 places again. We have a house, apartment, mansion, castle, cabin, treehouse, shack, tent. So we're going to do them again. You speak after me, okay? I live in a house. Good. I live in an apartment. An apartment. I live in a mansion. I live in a castle. I live in a cabin. A cabin. I live in a tree house. I live in a shack. I live in a tent. Very good. So, what's this? It's a tree house. What's this? It's a shack. Easy. What's this? Right, it's a house. This is the hard one. What's this? Apartment. Apartment. What's this? A mansion. And this is a castle. This, a cabin. A cabin. And a tent. That's right. We're going to play a game, and it's a game called What's Missing. I show you 8 pictures, then I take all 8 pictures away and only show you 7 pictures, and you have to guess, what's this? What's missing? It's the house, or it's the tent, or it's the hamburger, or well, we don't have hamburger in the cards, do we? You cannot live in a hamburger, although it would be cool. Anyway, this is how the game goes. Have a look. Here we have our 8 places. I'm going to take the 8 places away and show you only 7. What's missing? The tent is missing. That's right. Now what's missing? The mansion. What's missing? The cabin. The cabin's missing. What's missing now? The castle. Tell me, what's missing now? The tree house, very good. And what's missing now? The house, of course. Can you tell me what's missing now? The apartment, that's right. And last but not least, what's missing now? The shack is missing. Fantastic, good job. You're here again, super. So, that wasn't so hard. The missing game, what was missing? Yeah? For example, if I show you tent and a cabin and a castle and a mansion and an apartment and a shack and a tree house, well, what's this? It's the house. That's right. Now, the second game we can play, I'm going to show you not one picture, but I'm going to show you 2 pictures. Yeah? For example, I would show you the picture, this and this, or for this matter, it will look like this and this on your picture. And then you can say, the house is in the city. Yeah? Or, the tree house is in, oops, the plains. Yeah? Or, the shack is in the village. Yeah? Or, how about this one? Oh, that'd be cool. The mansion is in the schoolyard. Yeah? Or, the castle is in the park. Yeah? And, oh, my favorite. The cabin is in the mountains. The cabin is in the mountains. Or, this is very normal, also sometimes in Canada. The tent is in the forest. The tent is in the forest. And what else do we have here? For example, yes. The house is in the hills. The house is in the hills. So, I'm going to show you these two pictures. There's going to be one building where you live inside, and then there's the place where you can be, for example, the hills or the mountains. You see the picture, you say what it is. For example, the house is in the mountains, and then down below, for the ones who can read, you'll see the words, the house is in the mountains, and the boys and girls who cannot read, they will hear me also say, the house is in the mountains. Are you ready to play? Okay, here we go. Here is our first picture. What do you see? The house is in the hills. Very good. Our next picture. The treehouse is in the forest. Super. What do you see now? The shack is in the park. Yes. And now we have the cabin is in the mountains. What about this one? What do you see? The mansion is in the village. And what do you see here? The castle is in the mountains. Very good. What about this one? What do you see? The apartment is in the city. And the last one? Yes, the tent is in the schoolyard. Cool place for a tent. Hi, or howdy, back again. I hope you had fun playing that game. Now we're going to play a game together. And I sent you per email to your moms and dads, I sent you a piece of paper that looks like this with the color green, with the color yellow, the color blue, and the color red. You can print this paper out. I put it in foil, and then you can also cut them out. And what you do is you put them on the floor. You put them on the floor, okay? And you have them on the floor. You have, for example, the red ones here, and the blue ones here, and the green ones over here, and the yellow ones there. And you have them about so far apart. And then we're going to play the game Twister. Twister is a very cool game. If you've played Twister before, you understand that what I do is I spin the dial, and the dial goes to a color yellow. And for example, then you have to put your foot on yellow. That means you put your foot down on yellow, and then I can spin it again, and it says you put your hand on blue, and we'll play that until you fall over. Okay, so I'll give you a few moments. You can press pause. You can get your paper ready. You can play also later, or you can play tomorrow. But when you're ready, make sure that you have, whoops, come here. Make sure you have your 4 colors on the floor. You can also use 4 colored socks. If you have a red sock, a green sock, a yellow sock, and a blue sock, well then you put those 4 socks on the floor, and then I'll tell you how we play. We'll be ready in 1 moment. Ready? Okay, here we go. So, I've got my spinner, and we're going to begin with one hand, okay? Put your hand on green. Put your hand on green, okay? Your other hand. Put your other hand on red, So you now have one hand on green and one hand on red. Put your foot or your toes. Put your foot or your toes on green. Okay. Uh-oh, put your other foot on green. Oh boy, that means now you have one hand on green and 2 feet on green. Put one hand on blue. So you can take your one hand and you can move it and put it on blue. On blue. Yeah. Put your other hand on blue. Very good. Oh boy. Put one foot on blue. That means now you have 2 hands and 1 foot on blue. Oh boy. Put your other foot on yellow. On yellow. Now, put your nose, if you can, put your nose on green. Your nose on green. Put your elbow on green. Put your ear on red. Put your belly button. What's your belly button? This is your belly button. Put your belly button on blue. On blue. And now to make it really, 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 really tricky, put your head on yellow. So, if you've not fallen over yet, then you definitely are the winner of Twister. Boys and girls, it was super seeing you guys. I sent you some worksheets. This time there are 2 worksheets for the smaller boys and 1 worksheet for the bigger boys and girls, of course, boys and girls. And don't forget to do them. You can show them to me hopefully next week, because I think next week we might be starting English again. Until then, I'm going to say, Danny, 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 thank you so. Danny, 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 it's time for me to go. Goodbye. Ciao. Arrivederci. See ya.